Hello, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for joining us here today. We are Aladtec online scheduling software, and today we're going to be giving you a brief overview of some of the functionality throughout the system here, as it applies even specifically to dispatch centers. And you'll see throughout the system the custom options that will be available to you, and we'll be able to walk through all the different elements that you might be interested in. We will take questions along the way in the GoToWebinar panel. So if you have any of those, please feel to submit those, and we'll cover those in our webinar here today. Maybe have a Q&A at the end and show everybody the different answers that we can come up with here. And then, we know every service is specific and, unique out there. So if you'd like to have a conversation with more of the specifics of your needs of your system, we'd love to talk to you about that because our system is, of course, completely free to trial, and you'll be able to do that, and we'll show you how we can get you a custom system set up for yourself so you can review it on your own and make sure it's a good fit for you. So thank you again for joining us. So what are some of the things we're going to be covering today? Well, we're going to be looking at a sample system here that'll cover everything from your member database and controlling and storing all the information that you might want to track for your members, from certifications to qualifications to all those sorts of things, and notification options. The schedule views, of course, you'll be able to show the schedule in any manner you see fit. And organize it in the way that you wish, and your admins will be able to easily edit it with drag and drop and be able to move people around as needed and so forth. We're going to show you a really cool expanded feature that we've had here in terms of forms. So basically anything that you have on paper can be centralized and captured right here digitally within the system as well. And we have some great sample template forms for you to look at if you need. Reporting is always a big part of the system. So we have not only just raw dump of the information from the schedule itself, but you can customize even down to payroll reports and set all the different rules for your members and how payroll works to get you a payroll report that you can easily export and use for your payroll purposes. And there's a lot more. So we'll show you all the different things here. And like I mentioned, there'll be a Q&A there as well. So let's go ahead and jump over to a sample system and show you what it looks like. I have a sample system up here. This is the Splash homepage that comes up as you log in. It is an online cloud-based service. It's a website, and you will have your own unique keyword associated with any service. So it's unique to you and your service, and it'll have your system, and only those with the credentials with that system will be able to enter and be able to look at the system as needed. This one just happens to be our dispatch webinar sample schedule, but this is the access point for anybody on any device. All they need to have is an internet connection and a browser, and they pull up just aladtec.com/ whatever your keyword is, and they'll have the login screen to get into the system. And that goes for iMac, PC, tablets, iPads, phones, Androids, all the devices as well. And the mobile site will be basically formatted to fit on the smaller screens. The mobile site is just the same exact site as the full site as you see here, but it's just configured differently to fit on your mobile screen, and I'll show you an example of that, and you'll see that you'll be able to flip between the two as well as we go along. Keep in mind, everything that we're looking at here is included as part of the subscription from the system, and what's included in that is, of course, all upgrades and all new functions and availability as they get pushed out, of which we do roll out quite frequently. We even have a release notes section here where you can review all the different upgrades and updates that have been pushed out on the system. So everything you see here along the menu bar to navigate any part of the system is part of the subscription, and we'll be able to use it as you needed for your different functions and service here. Also, that comes with the system is free training as part of your rollout of implementation. If you are looking forward to using the system and you go through your trial period and you decide that you want to move on to that, great. You just take that sample system that's already been built for you by our folks here. You'll be walked through it. We'll have a specialist assigned to you along with a sales team, and they'll be able to walk you through each part of that implementation process at the pace that is most comfortable for you, of course, and be able to use our services here to build that custom system for you and make sure everything's right. Because And then continuing on from that is the unparalleled technical support team that we have here. It's unlimited free support at your disposal at any time. We're located here in the Midwest. There's just a few of us here that are dedicated to you and all our 2,500 customers, and we're just here to answer your call, your emails, or even your chat. We monitor all that during the day and be able to assist you with anything you might need. If you want us to just do changes for you or walk you through all those different levels of what's needed, we certainly offer training as well. We can set up a meeting with a screen share like we're doing now and be able to show you the system as needed, as much as you need for any of your admins or members as it comes along. It's really as simple as that. It's funny that people don't really seem to believe it in terms of, you know, their experience with other support teams, but ours is not that at all. You call, we answer, we talk out any thoughts or questions that you have, and you can do that as much as you want for free. That's what comes with your subscription here. So that's what we pride ourselves on there. So let's take a look at some of the elements of the system here. We're just going to kind of use the menu bar to navigate along the way here. We'll just kind of go from left to right here. And, you know, as with any system, it starts with your people, right? We want to get your members in there and get their information in place, their credentials, and any sorted maybe some text and email information and any schedule qualifications and email information that we want to store here as well. And then you'll notice that as we go through that the member database is completely customizable as well. So you can expand the member database to be as comprehensive as you wish and be able to, you know, set an unlimited amount of information to store in here. Everything from, you know, as you can see, their date of hire to their educational or training information. Certifications are a big part of the system. You'll be able to track those dates and see when they're due to expire, and the system will tell you that. You can add attachments. You can actually put your CPR card or certification document right along with your profile here and have that information available to you as well. And as part of the member database here, we can just kind of see it in database form here, rows and columns that can be completely, this is your member report. So if you think of this as your database and your report, you can customize this to look like whatever you want using our filter options and basically just pick and choose the elements that you wish to see as part of what you see on the screen here and which rows are being displayed and what elements of what fields, what people, what groups are being displayed, and utilize that to your advantage. It's completely customizable, and then you'll be able to export the data if you wish or print it as needed as well. You could add members as you go along here. Let's just go down and take a look at one of our example members. I'm going to use Joe here as an example. I'm going to go to Joe and I'm going to hover over his name and I'm just going to edit Joe so we can see his profile on the inside. You can see some high level information that we keep here as part of the system, you know, just the high level stuff like their name, their username. You'll be able to reset their password to them. Only the member will be able to see and set their own password. And it goes to the email on file, the primary email listed as part of that member. So only they can get into their email and set their own password. You get to dictate who has access to do what rules they follow. You'll be able to set that up into the settings of the system. You dictate what level of authority that they have in the system, whether it's top level, which is everything, or a basic member, or somewhere in between, like a supervisor that can do the day-to-day things, but not necessarily have all the power like a top level administrator. Work groups is referring to the set of rules people follow. So of course, you know, different rules for different groups of people, part-time, volunteers, admins, full-time, if they, you know, depending on if they can sign up for shifts and if they need approval, trades, what are the trade rules? If you need to track work limits, you know, you make sure that your part-timers aren't working over a certain amount of hours each week, or it pops up a warning, or even don't even allow it in the system. So you can set those different types of rules for your folks. And then drilling it down even further here, this goes in towards reporting in terms of, you know, what pay period they belong to, what is their range of pay, 2 weeks, twice a month, first of the month, end of the month, whatever it is. And then the rules of the pay profile, and that goes more towards how they get paid, what do they get paid, what do they not get get paid for? How does overtime work? That kind of thing. You'll be able to set all these rules as part of each of these profiles in the setup of your system. Notifications is a big part of the system here, and here not only does the member get to put in their own information of their phone number and what carrier they belong to and any email addresses, they also get to pick all the different options in terms of what notifications they actually receive. So there's a lot of people out there that maybe wish to know about it right away, or they don't want them at all. So they get to pick and choose based on the type of request they submit. If they want to know when their time off has been approved, they would just simply click on these different options for email and text and get those notifications as they occur. Some of the other alerts in the system are kind of set by default. We'll talk about coverage alerts. That's just a simple function in the system to alert people of an open shift, or maybe give them an opportunity for an overtime shift and get their turn. That's called a coverage alert. So this is just turned on by default. Forms also have notification options that you can turn on and off as well. I talked about certifications and dates. These are the date expiring fields within the member database here, and it will also kick out those notifications to let you know, hey, your CPR certification is due to expire. Maybe you need to get that updated, and that would go out to the member and the admin. And then even on an upcoming shift reminder, just to kind of put it in your ear the day before, don't forget you're working tomorrow, that kind of thing. You get to dictate where the people are allowed to work. Sorry, I'm jumping around here. The work qualifications, this is just dictating exactly where is Joe allowed to work. So this isn't authority in the system. This is just saying, where can Joe work? What is he qualified to be? Is he a supervisor? Is he a director? Is he a captain? Is he a lieutenant? Is he an EMT versus a medic? And where can he work? You get to dictate what your schedules are called and what the jobs are called, or the positions within. So you get to set up, the different stations or the different locations or the different shifts or whatever happens to be. And in this case, Joe gets to work, any part of the day as a dispatcher. He's not a supervisor. He's not in training. So you get to dictate where exactly people work. And that, of course, helps you as the admin. So you're not having to remember, in a large staff, who's qualified to do what. You're actually just looking at only the people that are qualified to be there. And if they're qualified, maybe they're just signing up for that shift. They only see shifts that they are allowed to sign up for. The system also tracks time off and information. So not only does it allow you to submit time off under different categories for different reasons, but the system will also track the hours associated with those different types as well. So there may be a situation, you have an HR document that says that they accrue vacation time or sick time over a range every year, every week, every pay period, every month, whatever it happens to be. The system will keep track of those balances, and you as an admin, of course, can go in and adjust those balances manually at any point that you want for any reason, but the system will actually accrue those hours of times in each of those banks automatically as you set up a profile and then assign a profile to a member over a range of time. They'll accrue the appropriate amount of hours as they go automatically, so that you don't have to remember to give it to them. And then as they ask for that time off down the road, those amounts would be displayed, and Joe will know exactly how many hours he has when he's submitting a request, and to make sure that he has enough, in theory. And then if it goes below 0, then it would show in red and negative, and maybe he attempts to ask for that time off, and then the admin will see it as well and then decide if they want to approve it or deny it. And then those amounts would automatically come off the balances as well. From general information down here, this is your world here. This is what I was speaking towards in terms of your custom profile information. You can add and remove an unlimited amount of fields here and expand on any information that you might need with different sections, different reasons, different types of fields, date fields, number fields, text fields, select list, check boxes, whatever you need. And then here's those expiring fields that the system will track for you, and so forth. And it's all simple drag and drop in terms of formatting what you might need here and labeling the different fields as needed. And then always, remember to save for anything that you might enter in there. So that's just a basic overview of members and information. And what most people use from the member database is the ability to send a message. So it's as simple as just checking the box of whoever you want to send a message to, or select everybody, and you can just compose a message to say whatever you like and can trigger it whenever you want. It's a one-way, no reply message that comes from the system, and you can send it by email or text or both, and you just type out whatever you want to say. The system knows who's going to get it and which people get text and send it out. And it's also recorded in the log, of course, so you can always look back in history and see exactly what was sent and to who. So that's a nice communication tool available to you in the member database here. Let's move right on to schedules here. I can mention here's the member database configurator. This is the ability to change the profile for your members. That's where you would make those field changes that I mentioned. So if we move right on to schedules here, let's just take a look at the big picture here. We're defaulting here under the schedules to the schedule views. This is where you're just looking at the schedule and the different details of what's going on. It's defaulting to our monthly calendar view at this point, which is dictated by these different icons here with the calendar icons in there. You can look at it by month, by pay period, your own range, by week, by day. So you decide how you look at the system and how you look at the different schedules and information. That's really a big part of our system, is the custom options available to you. And these options from a viewing standpoint are unique to you and your login. So what you are looking at is not necessarily what your admin cohort is looking at. It's not what, if Joe's looking at it one way, Bob is looking at it a different way. It's your choice as to how you want to set up the system and look at it as you wish by using these options here. So we could see throughout the month here in March or earlier this year, the days, the power shift, evening, nights, admin staff is showing us the work hours here, and even more detail as I'm hovering over any of these shifts. You could see the different details. And just from a screen space point of view here on a monthly calendar view, it can't fit all the text and information at a default. So if you hover over different positions here, you'll see the dispatchers, and maybe one's a supervisor and so forth, and you see the hours. You can see some other color options here looking at, say, time off. So this is associated time off with who might be asked for approved time off for the day. Trades are in this off green, and it's also indicated by these little arrows. So you can see the different elements of trade options here. Events can be put on the schedule. So if, as you can see here, supervisor meetings, trainings, whatever events might be occurring, and those are custom to, to whatever you want to call it for whatever times. And it can even repeat over time. That's what that little R is indicating there. So you can add those to the calendar as well for information. You'll notice some purple along the way. This is just indicating which shifts are open. This is just our way of showing what is an open shift. So this particular dispatcher is not fulfilled. And if we kind of scroll down here, we get to some other days that have an open shift here. And then you'll also notice this little red stop sign. This is indicating another function in the system for minimum staffing. So you can set up the rules of your schedules in the background to determine how many people you would necessarily need during whatever time range for your minimum staffing. And I can even click on that and see that I'm looking for 3 people here from 6 to 14, but I'm short. I need 2. I only have 2 from 6 to 14. So this one's a little short because this one's not working a full shift, and this one's open. So that's just a visual indicator for you to see as an admin to maybe, take action on that particular day and put out the an alert and say, hey, we need somebody to sign up and cover this shift, or whatever you might need to do. You could see other details in here too. There's a nice note feature here. So it's kind of like putting a little sticky note on the day. You can just simply hover over any schedule name here, and you're able to add a note or add an event, as I mentioned here. So the system's very intuitive in terms of what you need to do. So if you just take your time and, hover your mouse over things, you'll discover all sorts of different functions of what you have the ability to do. You can even click on that. It keeps a note history of exactly when it was added, what it says. It'll be included on shift reminders, and you can add to it after the fact. Save that. It just puts a little sticky note on the day. What else we got here? I want to make sure I'm covering everything on this. Some more vacation time over a range here. Let's take a look at another viewpoint here. Necessarily if you're an admin and you see all this information in the monthly calendar and you decide, this is really a lot. I don't need to see all this. Here's where you can even customize what you're looking at by clicking the edit link at the top, and you just turn things on and off. You have your list of schedules, you have some details about the schedules, you have some additional information here for trades, time off, events. And you could even focus on, say, you know what, I just want to see days. I don't need to see anything else. And if you apply that, it just all hides in the background. Doesn't mean it's been deleted, doesn't mean it's gone. It's just out of this person's view that's logged in at the moment. You can just focus in on just days. And you can even turn off all the other information too, if you want to just clean it up even more. And what's great about this is that you can save these, right? You have all these different options, and then after a while you figure out, hey, this will really work for me. I want to use this later. You can save it and just say, hey, this is my days only view, right? And you can share it with your other admins so that they'll have that too. And then you'll see custom filter options here in this drop down, where there's one called days only now that I can flip to whenever I want, and it'll remember all the different options I had in that edit box. As I mentioned, you could look at the system from different points of view, different time ranges, such as like a daily summary. So this is just for March 1st for one day. What's my roster? Here's your roster for the day. If you wanted, you could print these. And the same with these views. Every view has a different set of options, so you may see some different options available to you as you navigate around to the different viewpoints. Under the schedules tab, we have a whole bunch of options in here. What you're looking at here on the top end here is just all the different ways to view the schedule. So you get to view the whole schedule. You can view it from one member's point of view. You could go to the My Schedule page. This is the page that your members would go to in order to interact with their own thing, their own stuff. So they would be able to go and be Frankie and see exactly in blue which shifts I'm working this month. And then there's a legend here on the left, and you can turn on and off the different elements of these things, just like the filter options. Just turn them on and off, checkbox on and off. If there was any open shifts available out there, that doesn't see, if I go into October, here's some purple open shifts that are available for Frankie to look at. And it's as simple as just hovering over any of these shifts and clicking on them and signing up for them directly. Frankie would just log in, go to my schedule, find an open shift, click on it, sign up. And it would go to an admin for approval, and then you can leave that open for whatever your process might be. Or if they want to ask for time off, it's just the opposite. Go to the day in question that they would like to have time off for, and they would just click on it and either request a trade or submit time off. So the members kind of take care of themselves, and they're responsible for their own shifts, and they just request if they want to, trade it away or swap with somebody, or if they want to ask for the time off for whatever reason. You can have your members submit availability. I'm not sure if dispatch really uses that all that often, but you could do that in terms of if you don't want people signing up for shifts directly, maybe you build the schedule ahead of time, a month or two, and you could have your members submit how available they are or how unavailable they are over the next month or two, and let you know ahead of time so you can build the schedule with the appropriate information. Your members also have the ability to sync their personal calendar here, their work calendar, Aladtec calendar, with a personal or family calendar outside the system. If you have iCal or Outlook or Google Calendar or whatever you have the ability to basically share this calendar and sync it up so it always is in coordination with any changes that come down the road. I mentioned here in the schedules tab, these are the ability to different ways you can view the schedule. Then down here are the different ways you can edit the schedule as an admin. And the big one here is called the hourly editor. That's how you can edit any day, any hour, any time, anywhere. So you basically have the power to change the schedule as you wish using the hourly editor. This is your builder. This is your whiteboard, if you will, of how you build the schedule each day. And that's day to day. There are other tools in here to make it a little easier for putting in a schedule over a batch, if you will, a rotation. So if you know a pattern that somebody works, every other day, Monday through Friday, every 2 weeks, whatever that rotation or pattern might be, you can build it into the system by person and manage those over whatever range of time that you wish, so that you don't have to put them in over day by day. It'll just automatically put it in all at once in one step over a range that you determine and just be specify. And you can manage those rotations as you go. And it's available to you there. We'll just take a look at the hourly editor. Let's go look at, say this day that we're a little short on, or maybe we'll use a little more open-ended one over here back here. So I can actually just hover over the day schedule here, and I can edit the schedule. And this takes us into the hourly editor. Now, that, like I said, this is your workspace, basically. This is where admin work gets done. So there's a lot of detail going on the screen that you're seeing here. So don't be too intimidated by what you see. There's a lot of tools here that you can turn on and off. You, again, get to customize this view any way that you wish. And you just, it's a learning curve, and you get accustomed to it. And everything in here is really easy to drag and drop and move and do whatever you need. You could see the day's schedule here for just March 8th. And we have 24 hours in every schedule, as you can see, in how many different spots we might use. And what you do with those 24 hours is really up to you. You get to paint the picture of whatever you want to use. Days is typically 6 to 14, but after 1400, I don't really need those hours really. And that's what we're going to utilize here to basically cover them up using a function on our system called block time. And it works just like a person, that you can kind of fill in the holes, and then you'll be able to not see them as open shifts on the schedule, and if you don't use them. But you could certainly use those hours if you wish. You'll see what's been filled in here with the blue shifts here, and then all this white space is the open shifts in the purple that we saw on the calendar. And if you simply want to put somebody in as supervisor, all you have to do is select that particular position. And then on the bottom half of the screen here, it's showing us the list of all the supervisors. These are the list of the people that are supervisors in the system, and it's showing us some associated information in terms of calculated hours, or their phone number, or date of hire. Maybe that's something we need to use to help us determine who's going to be put on the schedule. You can see some availability here, and you can see a coordinated schedule over the same timeline starting at 6 a.m. And if we simply want to put, say, Tim in that spot, we just say select Tim, and his information gets filled in right along the bottom here, and there's an add button over here, and we can just put Tim in on the schedule. It could even get simpler than that. If you have an open dispatcher here, you could just come down and see that Marcus has nothing else going on. He's not already scheduled somewhere else. He doesn't have time off. We can actually, or we could use Kay. Kay told us that she's available. Let's make sure Kay is not in that slot. So when we choose the different dispatcher spot here, you notice that list of names changes. That's because of qualifications. Not everybody can be a supervisor, so the list gets a little bigger when it's a dispatcher. But we can just take somebody from this down here and just grab it with our mouse, and we can even just drag it up there and just drop it in. So that's how simple it can be to just move people up and move them where you want them to go. And then once you have them up here, again, you can adjust them as needed by grabbing any side of any shift and moving it around, right? Or you can even pick it up and move it where you need it to go. Or maybe Herbert's going to fill in the little spot there, and we're going to take Perry instead and put him right there. So here we are making changes for the 8th and making it whatever we need it to be. The minimum staffing gets updated as we go, and if you put somebody in by mistake, no big deal. Just make it go the other way. You can delete the shift. You could submit time off on their behalf. You could change the type of time that this particular shift is. So maybe Herbert came in and we need his time to be overtime. So you can have a list of labels here to indicate which shift is getting paid for what. What rate are they getting paid for? You know, Tim is a regular shift here by default, but Herbert here is going to be an OT paid. And so when on the reporting side of things, when payroll comes around, it'll see that Herbert worked those hours as an OT paid time type, and you can do the translation on the back end to get them the right rate of pay. Those balances are all tracked within the system and reported on, and you can utilize them as you need to help you build the schedule as you go. Block time works the same way. Like I said, it's just like a person. If you want the whole shift to be open or the whole day, or if somebody works a little bit of overtime, right, you can just extend their shift over a little bit. So that's all the drag and drop options that you have in here. And then you just navigate to the next day and just see how this shift, you know, maybe you need a supervisor for tomorrow, right, for the 9th, and you just open that spot up. Maybe Sue's going to be a supervisor that day, and just go along and make the changes to the system as needed. And any changes you make, you can make them the other way, right? There's not necessarily an undo button, but you're the admin. You have the power to do it. You have the power to undo it, and it's no harm, no foul. You didn't break it. You're not going to, you know, mess it up beyond reproach or whatever. You'll be able to undo and make changes back to any way that you wish. All right, so we have different elements in here as well. So if you need to turn on different schedules, you know, from your viewpoint, again, these filter and the edit options allow you to say, okay, now I need to work with the nights and the evenings. So you can have both schedules here at the same time, and you can simply just open up a particular shift and even move somebody from one to the other if that's allowed. Maybe easier to go this way. Yep. Just move Tom down to this one. So working with the schedule is just your prerogative. And as we're moving people around, that's not kicking out notifications to them, letting them know that they got moved or added to a shift or whatever. You're just doing your job as an admin, you know, in the past, in the future, whatever day it happens to be, and painting the picture what the schedule looks like. And then later, if you want to send a note to your members saying what changes you made, you can. All right, let's move on to just a few other elements of the system. There's schedules, I mentioned repeats and rotations. And the mantra on that is if you can establish a pattern that repeats over time, it can be built into the system. We can, and even if the repetition option is not there for you to utilize, we can build you that custom rotation for you. That's part of the service. Just call and tell us what the hours on or days on, days off are, and we can build it into the system for you to make that repetition type available to you to utilize for that repeating pattern. So this is adding people to the system over a range of time. Date range delete is removing elements from the system over a range of time, just a big eraser basically. So this is adding, that's deleting. And the change requests, that's a log. The system, of course, captures and logs all activity in the system. So you'll be able to refer to it as a historical trail, or if an audit comes along and you need to find out who did what and when, the system tracks every bit of that. And this is one of the tools to help you find those things. Here's a request log. So this is tracking all requests for change, all signups, trades, time off, extra hours, those sorts of things. And if there's anything that needs to be approved or denied, they'd be listed up here. And once they are, they drop down into the historical log that you can find out exactly how any request went and if it was canceled, expired, approved, and you'll be able to track the details right down to the minute of exactly who did what and when. The system also tracks all activity in the system just in general. This is just a historical tracking of just change requests, but of course the system tracks everything, including every time somebody logs in, every time somebody clicks on something to make a change of any kind or any updates of anything. The system log here under the reportings tab will show you that list of historical information. Anything that's been added, anything that's been approved, moved, changed, homepage, anywhere in the system, it's all tracked. And you can simply focus down to a particular time or date, or even the activity, or by person. You'll be able to say, you know, show me everything that Joe has done in the system and be able to see that at any point. The system log is always there. It'll be there forever. It's stored and it can't be changed, and it never lies. Other reporting tools, since we're in the tab here, I want to mention things such as simply as an individual member report. That's the report your members can go to and simply get a nice quick synopsis of everything going on for that person. If they want to know how many hours they're getting for the pay period, they can find out real quickly. Go to here for the pay period, and they can see exactly how many hours and what shifts they're working. If they had any time off, where their accruals are at, any trade information, even right down to their member attributes, and see if they have any expiring dates and so forth. There's other simple reporting tools in here, such as a summary report, which just rolls everything up into one line per person to get a total number of hours for each of your different members. A scheduled time report works kind of like a simple payroll report, where just simply over a range of time, how many shifts they worked, where and when, and under what time, and have those subtotals in there for you as well. All reporting is customizable. You decide what the report is, you decide what you want to display, which schedules, which positions, you want to include overtime, time off. You get to customize the report to your own needs for whatever it might be, and save the report for later, or make a payroll report you generate every 2 weeks, whatever it happens to be. There's also an expanded payroll report here. Of course, we have expanded and evolved our system over time with the needs of our customers, and payroll is a big part of that. I'll talk about that in a little more detail if you like, if we have any questions on that. That also, that just allows us to build the rules into the system, because every system is unique, every service is unique, every payroll rule is unique. So, as those different rules come along for your different groups for different reasons, whatever the contract says and what it may be, we can have those options available to get you as close as possible to the complete, accurate payroll report that you can simply export from the system and then import into any other application or payroll provider. One part of the system I want to make sure to mention, of course, is forms. This is your ability to basically capture anything you have on paper and have it stored in the system, and all submissions can be saved and reported on, and you can do data mining and analysis and work queues. You can have a workflow of approvals and sign off from your supervisors, timesheets, checklists, anything you can even think of can be captured within a form on the system. And these forms are essential and available on the service from any device. They could be on an iPad walking around the truck, they could be on their phone, they can be at home, wherever they are, and they can come in here and fill out whatever they need to and submit the information for the next person in line who needs to review it, or whatever it needs to be captured through. You can edit and customize these forms to be whatever you wish. This is the really cool part, where you get into your form configurator here, you make this form your own. You have the design options of what's available here on the left. Here's all your different forms and how they're stored here on the right. And it's as simple as just picking up any field option that you might want and dragging it over and dropping it wherever you need to be. And you can see all the different example fields here that are available to you, lists and checkboxes and attachment fields where you can attach files, dates, and it's as simple as just picking them up and moving around. It's all drag and drop. You can have different, sections here, signature boxes, admin only sections. And if you see some example forms in here, coaching, other incident reporting and so forth, and if you have an existing form that needs to be built, we'll be happy to assist you in building that form on the system as close as possible to get it to where you need it to be. Or if you want to play around on your own, you're certainly welcome to do that. Or if you're looking for an idea for a form and maybe you just haven't thought of it yet and you're just wondering what might be out there, if you click on Add New Form here, we have just expanded this out. We went out to all our 2,500 customers and brought in the best of the best. They have kind of taken it on themselves and built their own forms out there, and we just went and explored them all and brought back examples of all these great forms and put them in here as a pre-made form list or templates that you can utilize for yourself. And you can take any of these templates for your own and bring it into the system and customize it to your own needs. It gives you a great starting point so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can bring in something as simple as, of course, a COVID screening form that a lot of services have used. And you can bring it in here, and if you need to add more fields or change it to what you need or add some more questions, whatever you need it to be, and you can save it as your own form here that would be available to you, and it's now unique to your service, and you get to set the settings of exactly who can see it, who can submit it, who can change it, and if it needs to kick out notifications or ping anybody on it for any reason, they can all be customized and set here within the system. So this forms functionality is huge. It's beyond the schedule. It's by far the coolest part of the system, just from the paperless aspect of it. So, and making it centralized and available for everybody to use. Along with that is a storage tab here. This is another great centralized location with pretty much unlimited space for you to upload and make a library of documentation, documents available to your members, and they can access it again from anywhere. Policies, procedures, trainings, reporting, employee files, pictures, whatever you want to organize into a folder hierarchy here and upload different files into the system. And you can make the folders restricted by group if you need to. Just make it whatever you will. And then again, you can even just, copy the link of the address of the file and send it out in a message and say, hey, there's a new policy posted here under storage. Make sure you go and take a look and read that. And members can come in and click on the document. It downloads to their device and then just view and read it. So it's like an online network storage drive, but you don't have to be logged into the network. You don't have to be at the, you don't have to be in the office on a machine logged into the network to get to the drive, to get to your, nope, you just log into the system. It's all right here. There's a nice discussions area here you can utilize as another communications tool. It just allows you to post, as you've seen on some online forums, just the ability to post a subject and people can respond back and forth with their own comments. And you can, just say, meeting notes, or this is what we'll discuss in the meeting. What do you think? Or what do you want to plan for this year's employee party? Or, things like that. Just the ability to have just an open-ended, open discussion for people to see and follow along. Have all different sorts of categories and topics there. We have a really great expanded help section here. I mentioned release notes, but really, what we will offer besides, of course, unlimited training is these videos that cover basically every part of the system. If you're kind of the person that wants to learn on your own, these videos are available to you to review at any point. You can just come in here and learn how to use the hourly editor. How does block time work? How about repeats and rotations? I need a little refresher on that. And even the webinars that we have for our customers every month are also posted in here. So if you don't have the opportunity to attend the webinar live, that's okay. We just record it and post it out here, and you can review it over and over whenever you want. So we even post those out there. So there's lots of resources out here and blog articles and things like that, basically covering every part of the system. But of course, if you want to skip all that, that's when you go to us, right? That's when you go to the contact us page. Like I said, free, unlimited, forever, even during your trial period. Of course, there's lots of questions up front and how the system works and what you need. You get to use the support staff at any point along that line. You could call us, you can email us, you can even click on this chat window to type in and just start chatting with us anytime you want, using the window of the chat right there. There is a setup area I mentioned early on in terms of top level administrators. There's the ability to basically get into the kitchen here and set all the different rules of what different types of access there are, what are the work limits, what our schedules are and how their lineup works, what are the positions available, what kinds of time off do I have, time types, how does accruals work, all the different background setup information can be done in this setup area, and it's all available to you here through different um, categories here for the different sections, and you'll be able to edit and make changes to whatever you need. All the way down to our modules, including payroll and time clock and so forth, billing information. So all that's available to you. There's really like 99.5% of what's available or in your control is within the system. There's not really a whole lot that only we have the ability to change for you. You have full authority over your system to make it what you will, and you'll know how you can see how customizable it really is. All right, coming up on 45 minutes here, I just want to take a moment to look at the questions panel and see if there's anything out there. Oh, they mentioned, oh, I completely forgot about the mobile. Thank you. I'm going to look at the mobile site here, of course. Our site is available on mobile devices, of course, and it is configured to fit on a smaller screen. And you'll see here, if I'm on the desktop here, I can actually flip it to the mobile site and see what it looks like on mobile. This is exactly what a screen on your phone would look like, right? It's just a different dashboard. It gives a little more high level information, for the member of anything for their upcoming shifts. Let's just look at it from their point of view here real quick. So when Frankie logs in, they'll see what shifts they have upcoming, if there's any available trades, any open shifts in the next couple days, and so forth. And they can use the three little lines to navigate to other parts of the system, just like in the full site. Go look at their schedule, their own information, get in discussions or fill out a form, those kinds of things. If I flip back to be an admin here, we get a couple more options. Like I mentioned, forms, member database, admins can send messages through the mobile site, and get to whatever they might need to. And then if you're, on a desktop or otherwise, you can always click and go back to the full site using the link in the lower right. And now we're just back. It's the same information. Updates are live across all versions. Let's take a look at other questions here. Oh, I just came across that time clock. What if your members need to punch in and out? Yes, we have a time clock functionality here in the system. In the setup here, there's a module called time clock. Now, this is one of the elements that is over and above the normal subscription. So there is an additional fee associated with that as part of it. It's a percentage of the number of members that you have in the system, and we can give you a quote on that. But again, with anything else, it's free to trial. It's a time clock function in the system that looks at the schedule and looks at when people are expected to be there. And you have your members can log in and just go to another kiosk website that you can designate. You can designate machines to be a authenticated kiosk where they have to be at that machine, so you know where they are, and they would just simply choose their name, enter their password, clock in, clock out. That's it. It's just another website. They would clock in and out, and the system actually tracks that, and you'd be able to compare side by side when they were expected to be there and what the time clock record says and when they actually punched in and out. You'll be able to track when they were early, late. Otherwise, you can see grace periods. If they're outside the grace period, you could force them to enter in a note or an explanation as to why they're late or early. And you can review all those records and even pay people based on those records if you wish. You can have a payroll report generated based on time clock punches if you wish. You can have associated pay codes and so forth with them as well. So yeah, that would be, well, I could just enable this. If I enable this and then just a time clock admin option comes up here on the menu bar where you can go to manage your time clock, cards, your punches in and out and records, and make adjustments as needed, and then manage your time clock kiosks as well. So you know where they are. You can have as many kiosks as you want. And if you don't want to use kiosks, you want to just allow unauthorized kiosks, great. Then it is just a website and they can clock in from anywhere but that really means from anywhere, even their phone, and you won't know where they are located. All right. So any of these items can be expanded upon, of course, in much more detail, and we'd love to hear what it is that you have that we might be able to customize for you. As I mentioned, this system is free for you to just have as your own and trial it out for free. We can even have one of our specialists have conversations with you, learn about you and your needs and your system, and maybe get an example roster from you or an example set of schedules, and then they will take it into their own hands and build you a custom system, give you access to that system, and have you just free reign, play with it. You can just make it your own, do what you will, and just go right along with your day to day and make sure that it's something that's going to work for you and your members. That's completely free for you to trial, and we would love to have the opportunity to do that. You can get a hold of us through our website, of course, aladtec.com. You can call us at any point using the number here. You can email us at support or info@aladtec.com as well, and we can get that conversation started for you at any point. So I hope you got some good information out of that. Thank you for your questions and everything here today. And as again, if you have any questions or ideas or thoughts or want to talk about it some more, we would love to hear from you. So we hope we do that. So take the opportunity to find us, and thank you for joining us today. Have a great rest of your day and weekend. Thank you.